Alicia Perkins. I am a licensed clinical social worker. So how did S.H.E.R.O Spotlight start? Well, actually during the pandemic. A lot of people were dealing with mental health issues because we were going through a lot. And so I started doing these Saturday seeds, which I was just giving some words of wisdom. And then it just spiraled into the S.H.E.R.O Spotlight, because I feel like as moms, sometimes we're those unsung heroes. We don't really get a lot of recognition sometimes. And so basically what S.H.E.R.O stands for is something that I went through during my darkest moment in dealing with depression when I was going through a divorce. So S.H.E.R.O, of course, you all know, is a female hero, but I created an acronym, and these things helped me through to get to where I'm at today, where I'm at peace. I'm flourishing out here in this world. So I just really thank God for it. So S stands for sacrificing for my child. H is healing from my past hurts. E is evolving into what God wants me to be. R is revealing my truth, and O is obtaining my goals and happiness. And so each month I choose a woman that exemplifies that acronym of S.H.E.R.O. And today I have Rakita Brown here with me, and I'm so excited to have her here. My cousin Tennille told me about her, and we connected. And so, when you meet people and you really connect, we had a lot of things in common. And I'm just so happy that she is here with us today to share her journey. So definitely, I want you all to share this on your page so other people can tune in, because our goal is to help as many people as possible, especially our moms, because that's my goal. Because sometimes we go through things and we think we are the only ones going through it at the time. But you're not alone. There's someone else who may have traveled your journey and have overcome, and we want you to hear their story so that you can overcome as well. So Rakita, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Alicia. I'm so excited to be here on your platform and to share with your viewers, and just kind of bring some hope to whoever is listening. And if you're sharing this, thank you all for sharing. So my name is Rakita Brown. I'm a licensed clinical mental health counselor. I am a mom first, so full-time mom, but I am a licensed therapist. I'm an entrepreneur. I have a lot of different roles and wear a lot of different hats, but I've been licensed for over 13 years. I primarily provide counseling to women right now, and I am the owner of Wright Services, which is a for-profit mental health agency located in Greensboro, North Carolina. We serve children ages 5 and up. We also serve adults and also teens. And I am also the director of my nonprofit, which is a newer baby to me, Thrive Foundation. I really just took my knowledge and turned it into a nonprofit. I love training. I love doing consulting. So we are focused on educating and bringing awareness to mental health to our Black and Brown community, so we can be healthy mentally, so we can heal from past traumas. And so that's what my nonprofit is focused on, and it's called Thrive Foundation. So that's pretty much me in a nutshell. I also enjoy, just on a non-professional side, I really love to hang out with friends, spend time with my family. I like to go to spas and just kind of have some downtime, because I am helping a lot of people a lot of times. And so I have to take that time to decompress and care for myself.
Absolutely. Self-care is important. You sound like me. I love to get some massages, going to some spas and stuff. I love it.
Yes.
So how I'm going to break it down, Rakita, I'm going to break it down based on my acronym. So the first is sacrifice for my child. Do you feel sacrifice is essential to parenting? Why or why not?
I do feel that sacrificing is essential to parenting, because one, it's good for the parent and it's also good for the child.
Right.
So I'll start with the child first. I believe that we as parents, we model and teach our children, whether it's something good or something bad. Our kids are always watching us. I have one 11-year-old son. He is my heart. I love that he went to pieces. But our children are always watching us. Our kids know when we're stressed. They know when we're happy, when something is, maybe not quite right. But sacrificing is important because it teaches us discipline. It also teaches our children that, things can be obtainable, but maybe not right now. And so if you learn how to, put a plan in place, you set a goal, you work towards that. There have been times that I have sacrificed for my child and my family, because I know we have a bigger goal. So I do think that sacrificing is important for parents, as well as you're teaching your children how to, gain some discipline, how to set goals, and ultimately you teaching them important skills for as when they get older.
Right. And like you mentioned, you have sacrificed for your child and for your family. What is the greatest sacrifice you've made for your son?
I think the greatest sacrifice that I've made for my son is as it relates to money and finances.
Mhm.
And so I would say that, just being able to shift the focus on where certain resources are going so we can achieve other things in the future and invest those resources in maybe life insurance or retirement accounts. And so instead of, maybe traveling 6 times a year, maybe I said, okay, well, I'm only going to travel 3 times a year this time because I know we have a bigger goal that I want our family to achieve. So I know for me, one of those sacrifices was related around finances and money and where our resources were going, so we can have a bigger goal, at the end. So that was definitely one of the sacrifices that I made for my family.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Because I really teach my daughter too at a young age, she's only 9, about money. Because I think having financial literacy is very important, and having her learn about that at an early age, because she has her own business. So she pretty much sets up herself when we do vendor things, and she sets her prices, but also she has her own bank account and stuff like that. So when we go out and she wants to buy something, I make her really think about it. Is this something you need or something that you want? Or if she decides she really wants it, okay, let's look at pricing. Can you get it cheaper? I'm saying the same quality cheaper, things like that. And really just teaching her the importance of saving her money and being a good steward of her money.
Absolutely. It's so important because that financial literacy at an early age is so important, because they can develop those healthy habits at a young age. And when they get older, they graduate from high school, where they go to college or whatever trade they want, they can have that skill and that knowledge to help them on in those transitional years.
Absolutely. And I see some people on, so definitely chime in at any time. This is like church. If you feel like something's good, say amen, put something in the comments.
Yeah,
we family here. We are family here. So let's talk about H, healing from your past hurts, because you understand too, as a therapist, healing is very important to growth. One of your adversities we talked about when I did my interview with you, my initial interview, was you went through a divorce as well, just like myself. What did you learn about yourself during this time?
Ooh, I learned so much about myself during that time. It was really a time of, reflection. It was a time of, okay, let me take responsibility for what I owned up in the relationship. And, I learned that I was strong. I learned that, I had moments of weakness, and that was okay. I learned to forgive myself. I learned to forgive others. So I learned so much during that time. And, healing is a part of any process when you experience some type of trauma. But I will say you have to make the choice to heal, and a decision to say, okay, I want to move past this situation. I want to be able to move forward and have freedom in my life. And I want to be able to process what's happened and, create this space for myself to grow, to learn. I think that, in our society today, people, it's somewhat frowned upon when you get a divorce, especially for me, right? I grew up in a Christian home. And so, one of the things, and also my parents, they have been married for, I think like 46 years coming up in this June. So, my example of marriage was a long lasting marriage. And then, I also have a sibling that's been married for several years. So I had examples, of long lasting marriages. And one thing for me was like, well, why can't my marriage work? And, well, what happened? And so, once I started to, not focus on what everyone else was doing, but what I really wanted for myself, and knowing that, okay, well, it's not what about everyone else thinks, because, you know, you only have to live with that person, not everyone else. So
Right.
everyone else's opinions really don't
No
matter.
matter. Exactly.
And so you have to, be okay with making whatever decision you make and owning up to that, whether you decide to stay in a relationship or you decide to leave. And so my choice was that I wanted for the marriage to end. And so once I decided that, I started to then put things in place of how can I heal? How can I move forward? How can we co-parent? All these little things started popping up to say, okay, well, what's next? And, with change, it's so uncertain. You don't have all the answers. And, kind of like in the role that I had at my job, at my business, I'm used to having answers. I'm used to fixing everybody else's stuff, or, just kind of having some level of control. And what I had to realize is that I had to surrender. I had to release any control that I wanted, so things could be right within myself, so I can get through my healing process. And, I just told God, whatever your will is, this is what I surrender to.
Right. I love that. And like you were talking about, just having that strength, because I learned that too about myself, that I was strong. And actually my therapist helped me see that when I was going through, and I went to therapy, and she was just like, do you understand how many women can't leave like you have, who didn't have the financial means, who didn't have the emotional stability to do that? And I was like, that's so true. She said, so imagine how many women do have to stay, or, and so I did really realize that, okay, I am strong. And I think for me too, is just forgiving myself, because I kept beating myself up. Like, why did I see the signs? Why did I get into this relationship? And then I am somewhat of a perfectionist, and like you said, control as well. This is out of my control. This wasn't in my plan, you know what I'm saying? So I had a hard time dealing with that.
Exactly. So what happens when the plan doesn't go exactly how you want, and you're looking like, okay, now what am I supposed to do? What's the next step? And so, I as well went through therapy through my divorce process, because it's a loss, right? And so everyone experiences loss and grief differently. And so what I needed during that time for me was to enter into therapy and find a safe place, someone I didn't know that I could really talk to and process all of my feelings, and, cry and journal and just do all these different things to help with, learning new coping skills. Because, when you go through a divorce and you come out on the other side, you become a different person once you do the work. And so, my life, what it was 10 years ago is not what it is now. And so I'm so thankful for the growth, for the elevation that I've had through this whole journey. I can say that healing and restoration is possible, with God's help, with, you actually doing the work to see those results. And so you just have to be patient with yourself, like you said, at one point you were kind of beating up on yourself, being hard on yourself. But we have to be patient with ourselves, and we have to know that everything has its timing.
Yeah, absolutely. Giving yourself grace. And I heard you say that you did heal from your hurt through like prayer, going to therapy. What other ways? And then also, how did you know that you were fully healed?
So some of the ways that I healed through my journey was prayer, being around good, supportive friends, having that village. You don't need a lot of people, you just need some good ones. And so, that was a way that I was able to heal as well. Having friends who didn't judge me. I'm telling you, good friends are a blessing.
Yes, they are.
And so, so having those good friends, recommitting back to, getting healthy and being mindful about, what I put in my body, what I'm listening to, so just, practicing exercise, getting outside. Travel was one of my ways and I still love to travel. So traveling to different places, whether it was a solo trip or a trip with friends or family, was also another way. So it's different types of ways that, a person can heal. It's not just a linear, process. We have to add different things in there because, maybe 6 months in your journey, you were using X, Y, and Z, but maybe the next 6 months you have to switch it up so you can get, some more results. So those were some of the ways that I was able to heal.
Right.
But I tell you, my faith in God and prayer, listening to, inspirational music, gospel music, whatever, all those different things really, really helped me to heal and get through the process. And you asked another question, but I can't remember what it was.
How did you know you were fully healed? Because like for me, I thought I was healed, but it wasn't until I got into another situation. You think you healed from things until you're faced with, and you're like, okay, I'm not really healed. So how did you know you had reached that point? Like, I'm really good.
So I think for me, I probably, I thought I was healed early on, but I might have gotten a text message or might have got an email. It was like, okay, what does that mean? But, further on, I knew that I was really healed when maybe I would have gotten a message, or maybe it could have turned into something that could have been like a disagreement or a conflict. I just didn't even allow it to bother me, and I just kind of moved on, because you have to know, when working with other people and being in a relationship with other people, you cannot control another person. So I'm just responsible for myself and my actions. And so that was one of the ways that I knew that I was truly healed from the situation, how I was able to respond and react to certain situations.
Absolutely. Now, when we switch over to E, evolving into what God wants you to be, what motivated you to start your own businesses? I heard you say at the beginning, as everyone said, you own your own therapy business, but also you have a nonprofit as well. What motivated you to start both of those things?
Well, I think one of the motivations for me was I've just always really been, that person that people just kind of come to ask for advice or to ask for help. And so I've always enjoyed helping people, and I wanted to take what I had, kind of growing up in a household with my parents, seeing them counsel members, or just really just seeing them, in the community helping people. That was like a motivation for me to say, okay, I grew up in this type of environment, and I want to be able to help people in some capacity as well. So just being able to give back, and I truly believe that it's a gift, it's a calling, it's a ministry on my life. And so I just love it, and it's just been a blessing over the past years to be able to walk in this type of purpose and to be passionate about it, and just to really, really enjoy what I do.
Right. So again, share with everyone the name of your business and also your nonprofit and how they can contact you, and then also the services you provide.
Yes, so Wright Care Services, we provide counseling services throughout the state of North Carolina. So we provide in-office services as well as telehealth virtually. So if you're not located in the area that we are in, we can get you set up with virtual appointments. We accept insurances, as well as, you can pay out the pocket if you don't have insurance. And then my nonprofit, Thrive Foundation, we are a mental health training organization where we educate and reduce those stigmas related around mental illnesses. And we just really educate the community on mental health awareness, and, just trying to teach individuals and organizations how to be able to live a healthy life, because the community is important. We're all a part of the community. So, so we can teach one person how to be healthy. We want to be able to spread that to multiple organizations, multiple people. So we're all healthy and we're all empowered together.
Absolutely. And so I was putting that in the chat for everybody. So definitely go support her businesses, her pages, follow them, reach out to her if you do need resources. Like I said, she is licensed in North Carolina, her and her staff, and they can get you started with some therapy. But we'll talk about that a little bit later, what to expect for therapy and things like that for people who are wanting to seek therapy or not really sure what to expect. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But I do want to get into, what are some of the struggles you've had to deal with being a Black female business owner?
Wow, it's been a lot of struggles with being a Black female business owner. Something just as, access to resources, access to capital.
Mm,
It's a very difficult thing for people to sometimes share resources,
mm,
or sometimes our counterparts know where to go for funding, or sometimes other people think White is right, and so that's
mm.
been a struggle, even when it comes down to getting the right type of staff.
Right.
And so all those different things have been struggles, and just not really having a business background per se. So having to learn a lot of things, through trial and error and,
Mhm.
on your own, until you make those mistakes and then you become a success in it. And so
Right.
that's kind of really been my story, because, I didn't go to school to have an MBA or anything. A lot of
Right.
things, I learned were self-taught. And,
Mhm.
of course, I took some classes and some courses, but, business, you really have to be disciplined. You have to have systems in place. And
Mhm.
so, you can only fake it to make it only a certain period of time. You
Right.
cannot have that as a practice in your business model. And so I'm really just putting, systems in place to be successful, for when I'm not there,
Right.
everything is still running, and, things are still being handled. So just being able to overcome those different things have really been helpful throughout the years.
Right. And of course, hiring the right people, because you got to trust
Mhm.
the people that work for you as well, especially
Yes, you
if you're not
do.
there all the time, like you said, for it to run smoothly. So that's really hard as well sometimes.
Mhm.
And so is
Yes.
there any resources you could give someone who was looking to starting their own business, like as far as what resources you might have looked at or whatever that might be helpful to them?
Yeah, so I think, like, if you're looking to maybe get started with branding or marketing, it's a resource called Fiverr that has
Oh,
low cost
yeah.
things. If you don't have a budget, like a huge budget, to
Hmm.
get started with, learning how to market and how to brand yourself, that's a really great resource and a great tool for different types of projects. So they're like freelancers that can pretty much do anything any type of project you want them to do. So that would be a great resource. Also, your local chamber of commerce. That's a really great resource for business owners to get connected and plugged into their community. As far as funding, just really checking with, different nonprofit organizations that give out funding to small businesses. It's a lot of different organizations that give out grants. So you just really, I know it's a lot of people from everywhere up here. So just really just
Right.
checking into your specific state and finding out where can, you get small business funding from,
Right.
even if it's, maybe $5,000 just starting out, but really having those things and tools in place, because if you wanted to be successful and say you want to have a 6 or 7 figure business, well, you have to learn how to manage 5 figures first. And so, learning the basic foundational things to be successful in your business.
Absolutely. I love that. So those were great resources. So definitely, make sure you check into those things. And Fiverr, I agree. I give my confirmation or my stamp of approval on that as well. I use them for my logo after I hired someone who didn't do a good job. And then my sister told me about them and they were absolutely amazing and affordable. So
Mhm.
things I like. So
Yes.
when it comes to revealing your truth, do you think going through your divorce or your adversities made you who you are today? Why or why not? Why not?
I really can truly say that adversity has made me who I am today. Because when you go through adversity, you never know what the adversity is going to be. You think it may look like one way, and then all these other things start popping up, and so you really have to be grounded in who you are, to get through those, sometimes dark moments, I want to call them. Sometimes they can be isolating moments. And so with adversity comes a lot of change, a lot of challenge, even fear. But you have to, I had to work through all those things
Mm-hmm.
to become the better woman that I am today, the better mom that I am today, the better friend, sister, daughter, all that good stuff. And
Right.
so I feel like my adversity had to happen so I could, help other people. So I
Mhm.
can be a light to other people that have maybe experience some of the things that I have experienced, and I can show them, I might can't give them the whole blueprint, but I can help and guide them to navigate through some dark moments and challenging times, and let them know, there is hope on the other side. There
Absolutely.
is restoration on the other side. It can take years, it can take months, but continue to be committed to that process of healing,
Right.
continue to be committed to the process of change, and constantly evolving into
Mhm.
who you need to be.
Absolutely. I so agree with that, because I do look at my situation too. Just again, it wasn't in my plan, but this was,
Mm-hmm.
saying the path I was given and or chosen more so. And even when you necessarily don't do things or line up with what God wants you to do, he still got you though.
Yes, he still has us,
Because
and
when I
that's the
think about,
thing.
my situation, hey, I chose him. God didn't choose this person for me. I chose him. And even in my mistake, God still guided me and I still came out good. And so like you said, it may take a while. You may go through the struggle for a while, but you're going to come out. There's a light in
Mhm.
the tunnel. You got
There
to
is
hang
a
in there.
light, and when you get to that light and you look back, you're like, okay, I understand
Man,
why I had to go
exactly.
through this, why I had to shed all these tears, I had to cry.
Right.
It's all for a purpose, and it's all in God's plan. And so, sometimes it's hard to trust Him, but He already knew that things were going to happen, because He created us, right? And
Right.
so he's God. So,
Absolutely.
we just have to rest in him, and we just have to trust in his plan for our life.
Right, absolutely. And how did you adjust or embrace being a single mom? Because let's be real, sometimes society look at single moms on, with the frown because
Yes.
society wants you to be married and everything like that. But how did you adjust to that? And especially, like I said earlier, we both growing up in the church. Sometimes that's hard.
Yes. Listen, being a single mom is still hard. I don't want to sit up here and say, oh, it's all, every day is like an easy day, because it's not.
Right.
There are several things that I have to constantly manage and juggle. So some of the ways that I embrace being a single mom is, relying on my village that I have, whether it's, family, that could be hours away, or family that's nearby, So like planning is very, very important.
Absolutely.
Planning is very important. Being able to communicate, asking for help. I've been able to embrace being a single mom by asking for help when I need it. I know a lot of people think, it's for a lot of people, it's hard to ask for help,
Absolutely.
especially moms, especially women. We'll say, I'll figure it out on my own. I don't want to ask somebody to do anything, but we need the help. We have to take that superwoman cape off, because that's not healthy, because we're going to burn ourselves out. We're already, so many things to so many people. So we have to, create systems for our life. We have to streamline our life. So that's how I've been able to embrace single mom, being a single mom. Also, finding out like what resources, because my son is still young now. I mean, thankfully he's getting older where he can kind of, he does a lot for himself, and I don't have to have as many sitters. But I know just kind of growing up, when he was growing up, I was blessed to have, some great, child care providers,
Right.
some great
That's
nannies,
important. Yes.
great people that really just loved, loved us and loved our family, and still do love us. They were able to help when I had to go to work, when I had to travel. They would, take care of him, watch over
Right.
him. And so and I still have to figure things out. I always don't have all the answers, but just really being able to have a really great village. Money management is important as well, because when you're the sole provider, I was talking with one of my friends last week, and we're like, okay, when you're the sole provider for your home, you have to make sure, you're managing that money.
Right.
It's
Absolutely.
going where it needs to go, because you have someone else to take care of. And so really just being able to manage and, really just be a visionary and be strategic about how our family is going to go.
Absolutely. Yeah. Being a single mom, or just mom in general, is hard, but being a single mom is probably harder, because you have to really, really rely, like you said, planning. It's like, I can't do spontaneous things. I'm like, oh yeah, I can't go. When I
Hello.
I'm like, yeah, I can't go. I don't because number one, I don't really like leaving my child with anybody. Because that's very important to me. So if family can't watch her, or if I can't take her to one of the child care centers I really like, then I can't.
Yes.
And so that sometimes,
Exactly.
put me in a box. And I know that some moms too, that's hard for them because they might not even have the resources for that.
For that.
So I am, blessed that I do have some resources, but sometimes we do get hard. I can't do everything, last minute. I have to truly plan for things.
Yes. Yes. Have to truly plan. And that's what I, tell people, like, okay, like you said, I can't do something just kind of spontaneous. I would love to, but my life really isn't set up like that. I have to look at my calendar, have to look at what does his schedule have going on, so it's just a lot. And I'm okay with that, it's just the life that, like you said, has chose me now, and I've embraced it, and it's okay. I'm fine sitting home watching TV, sitting in my PJs, and when I can get out, good. When I can't, all is well.
Absolutely. And I do agree too about asking for help. That's something I struggled with in the beginning. And like you said, I did get burned out, to the point that I was just frustrated with everything. And then that's when family and friends was like, girl, I'll help you. Just call us. We got you, and when I found that out, and that I could, that I've truly had people that wanted to help me, that made me feel good, because I didn't want to be a burden to anybody, nor do I want her to be a burden to anyone, because she's my responsibility. But now that I do have this village, it makes me feel better. I have that relief when I need it. But again, I still have to plan, because I have to plan with their schedules.
That's right. Yeah.
But I do have people that's in my corner and willing to help, and that is very a huge key. It's very much important for you to reach out for help and be okay.
So important. It's so important. And again, we have to learn how to open up our mouth, because people can't read our minds. And so we have to let people know what our needs are, so we can get the help. And it's okay to get the help. Like, I listen, when I used to be that person, that woman to say no, but now I'm like, yes, I need the help. Yes, please. I'm going to accept the help.
Right. And as a therapist, what would you say to a client that is thinking about seeking therapy, but afraid due to having to face their reality, their truth, or either just don't really know what to expect when it comes to therapy?
So what I would say is, you have to make the start. And I know starting can be the hardest thing sometimes. But, sometimes let's just take a bill, for example. When we get bills in the mail, or we get some mail and we don't want to open it, well, it's not going to go away. The problem isn't going to go away just because we don't want to open that piece of mail, or we don't want to face what that could be. And so it's the same way as, starting therapy. I know it can be difficult to talk to someone who you've never met before. You just opening up and being vulnerable about some of your most private thoughts, but that is necessary so you can learn, how to be a better version of yourself. And so if you're afraid to start, or you think, it's just going to be something that is just very fearful for you, I would encourage you to maybe do a consultation with a therapist. So that's only like maybe a 5 to 10 minute conversation where you can maybe just get to know that person and kind of ask them some questions before you go in full fledged, before making your first appointment. And that way you can kind of ease into that process versus going in for an hour to talk with someone. So maybe, what you do initially is have a consultation where you can, get to know that therapist, know their personality, they kind of get to know yours, and even to see if it'll be a good match, because finding therapists, it has to be a good personality match, because if it's not, then it's probably not going to be the best time for you.
Right. And I love that approach, getting a consult first, because you need to interview that person just as much.
Absolutely.
To make sure they are good fit for you, and also to make sure they're going to give you what you need based on what you're experiencing or what you want to work on. That is key. And if they don't have that, trust me, it's a lot of therapists out there, and I am proud to say there are more, especially if we're looking at people of color, therapists out there. So representation do matter. And so I even had clients when they see my face, they'd be excited. African-American clients like, all right,
Yes.
I speak their language. I can understand them when they
Mhm.
use something, a slang word or something like that. I can get it,
Right.
and it's just wonderful to see that. And especially seeing Black males come as clients as well, because, that's huge. And I just love to see them being more open to therapy. And of course, there is a stigma associated with mental health, but the stigma is reducing some more because more education is out there, more awareness, more people are being open about talking about their issues. But there are racial disparities when it comes to receiving adequate mental health. And so if you would just touch on that a little bit and also give us some advice, especially to a minority, if they are dealing with mental health issues and don't know what steps to take or resources, what should they do?
So access to care can be a barrier, especially in our Black and Brown communities. But there are resources available. There are low-cost resources available. There are even some places that offer pro bono services. So you just have to ask wherever it is that you're calling. Don't be afraid to ask, hey, do you have a sliding scale fee? Or do you have a pro bono spot? Or some places even have interns where you can get the service, maybe at a free cost or a very, very low minimum cost. So it's so many different approaches that you can take in order to enter therapy. And so I don't want you all to think that, oh my gosh, therapy is not within my reach, when it is, because there's so many resources. You have BetterHelp. That's an online platform that can be used as a tool, as a low-cost tool. OpenPath is also another online tool that you can go in for low-cost therapy services. Right. And it's a lot of other places as well. 988 is a North Carolina crisis line if you're feeling suicidal. Some resources that are available that you can find therapists on are Psychology Today. Also check with your job. Some of you all may have free sessions as an EAP, a part of your EAP program. So definitely check that. A lot of times jobs are giving at least 3 to maybe up to 10 sessions for free counseling. So that can be a great way to enter into therapy and make it accessible to everyone that may need it. So those are some ways and that you can access therapy services. Again, looking online through different directories. There are some minority and African American directories as well, such as Therapy for Black Girls. Clinicians of Color has a minority directory if you want an African American therapist. So those are actual directories catered towards our African American community. So there's so many different resources out here that you don't have to suffer in silence. You don't have to suffer alone. You don't have to carry the burden by yourself, because there are so many professionals out here that can help and that are willing to help and want to help.
Right, definitely. And, of course, the suicide rate is increasing, and more so increasing with Black young males. And so we do have to be mindful of that. And like Rakita was saying, do take care of your mental health. There's definitely resources out there. If you think finances is an issue, don't let that hinder you.
Right.
And like she said, be open to asking about sliding scale, payment arrangements, pro bono, with therapists. Because again, we do want to help. Like me, I have a caring heart, I really do. So sometimes I probably charge lower than I need to for my skills, but it's because it's not about the money to me. It's also about helping people. Yes, money is important, but it's also about helping people, especially if they're in great need. So May is Mental Health Awareness Month. What would be your best advice to the audience out there that's on here tonight about managing or taking care of their mental health?
I would say the best advice is to start putting yourself first. Don't let another day go by where you are overcommitting to different things. Get out in nature and take care of yourself. Start saying no. Try to reduce any type of burnout that you may have, because your mental health is important. Because if you're not taking care of yourself, and if your cup is empty, you're not going to be any good for anyone else. So definitely start to consider to take care of yourself, take care of your mental health. And even if you're not ready for therapy yet, some other alternatives to therapy, you can do Journaling, that's a great way just to kind of get some
Yes.
thoughts out. Get moving. So do some exercising, go walking. Walking is very, very good for mental health. Even if you don't want to go to a gym, you can just go walking outside in your, communities, to a local park. The weather is
Right.
nice now, so maybe getting outside. Also decluttering your space. That's so important, because that helps with clarity. Your environment, where you live, and your car, those types of things are so important, because if we have a lot of clutter in our homes, or a lot of clutter in our cars, it definitely increases that anxiety, and increases us feeling overwhelmed and feeling like we're just kind of all over the place. So these are like some small, simple, free things that you can do to take care and start to improve your mental health. Eating the right types of foods. So you may have to make a grocery list, or so you're not eating out every day. So just those small habits and small changes can lead to significant improvements in your mental health.
Yes, I absolutely love that. So it's no excuse, y'all. Now y'all can't say I don't have the money, I don't have this. It's so much out there, like she said, for free.
For free.
I definitely do love journaling. And then also there's a lot of apps now, a lot of free apps, like
Yes.
affirmations, meditation. Even YouTube, you can just go and Google video and do 5-minute meditation.
Yes, that is good. Yep, go to YouTube. YouTube has everything. So it's really no excuse. And even if you are intimidated by the time limit of maybe a meditation, for example, you can start with something small, like 1 to 3 minutes. So it's not 15 minutes of your time, because you're not used to it. So like Alicia said, during affirmations, those are so important. They're so powerful. Our words are important, what we speak. So doing something as powerful as an affirmation can change your whole day. So, start with something. You may not do all of these things, but be committed to yourself to start with something.
Yes. And I love that. Be committed to yourself, because we take care of other people a lot of times and we just neglect ourselves. But like she said, if your cup is empty, how can you pour into others? So be committed to taking care of yourself. And like I tell clients sometimes, even if it's like 5 minutes out the day, do something for you. If it's deep breathing, just taking a walk outside, step onto the porch, because sunlight is very important. So when you say take a walk, that's very important. Just
Yes.
Just doing something for you. If it's getting your favorite drink or something, go to Starbucks and get your favorite coffee. Do something for you. Make it something that you do daily. And like I said, it doesn't have to be a lot of time, just something just to take care of you. And especially as a mom, because we end up taking care of the kids, if you're married, taking care of your husband, and then you just fall last. You fall by the wayside. So you have to make sure you're taking care of you.
Absolutely. So please, y'all, if you have not learned anything else tonight, please take care of yourself. Do not neglect yourself, because if you do, your body will feel it.
Absolutely. And then last question for you, when we're talking about taking care of self, balance is key as well. How do you balance being a single mom and a business owner?
So I balance it again with pulling out my schedule, blocking off time for myself. I go to the gym, sometimes there are some days I'm the first person on my schedule, because once my day gets started, it's just back to back.
Right.
And so I have to have that balance. I schedule friend dates. I schedule travel time, time just to nap. Naps are also healthy and important. So, I find that balance in different ways. I take social media breaks. So I do whatever I need to do to find balance. And so I think you have to find what works for you, and, continue to implement that. And, one thing that has been great with my balance is, having systems in my life and compartmentalizing things. And so that has been very important and very helpful to me finding balance.
I love that. And a good old nap, I definitely do love. So
absolutely.
Like that's healthy. Thank you.
Yes.
Rakita, I want you to know that you are a S.H.E.R.O.
Thank you.
You have sacrificed for your child. You have healed from your past hurts. You're evolving into what God wants you to be. You sat here today, revealed your truth, and you out here obtaining your goals and happiness. And I just love it, and I'm here for it. And I promise I will be out here following you, supporting you, because I really love what you're all about. And I encourage everyone else to do the same, and especially for a Black female business owner, that's very important. Representation matters, like I said earlier, and definitely support her. And if you know someone who needs services, please reach out to her. You know, she can guide you into the right direction or get you some services through her company, but also her nonprofit. Is there any way we can donate to your nonprofit or anything like that?
Yes. So if anyone would like to donate to our nonprofit, our website is thrive-wellness.org. And so up there is a donation button where you can donate for, our programs. We have a Hope for the Holidays program where we give back to local children in our communities who are, underserved and underprivileged, and we really make, a bright Christmas for them, and just kind of bring some hope to their families. We also, do reading books with children. So if you want to donate, to get some books for kids, we partner with several schools in the community as well.
Awesome. And any upcoming events for either one of your businesses?
So yes, my nonprofit, we are having a wellness challenge for Mental Health Awareness Month. And, it's a free challenge that anyone can participate in. And we're going to have some information posted probably later this week on social media on how, you can participate in a challenge. And I'm really looking forward to doing this wellness challenge for Mental Health Awareness Month.
I love it. Well, thank you again, Rakita, for joining me tonight and sharing your journey here. And thank you to everyone who tuned in tonight. Definitely, if this was a blessing to you, share with others. They can watch the replay. And again, tune in next month for S.H.E.R.O Spotlight. We thank you, and you all have a great night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.